Alright, we're back with more of Avadon 2, the corruption here. We did have to end abruptly here, but I was closing close on time, so that's why I ended the last part like I did. But let's go ahead and still talk to Commander Odell. Commander Odell has a reputation for duty, severity, and an almost congenital inability to smile. This reputation is not understated and has only grown more true with age. Your new status as a Hand of Avadon has, amazingly, made him even more contemptuous of you. I have much to do and little time for the Black Fortress. What do you need? I want to discuss my mission here. It seems productive, unusual for Avadon. You need to go south to the wretch lair we discovered. Investigate it. See if you can learn where the rebels are hiding. Anything you can discover about Constina would be particularly valuable. Constina? A powerful shaman of the Wild Realm, a cunning traitor, and, I believe, the leader of the rebellion in this region. What do you know about that lair? It's a cave, full of wretches, or so we thought. We have known about it for months, but we didn't have the soldiers to spare for a remote clump of wretches. It now appears that more was hidden there than past. Have you investigated it yourself? Briefly, my scouts tried to enter it. There were no guards, but there were traps. One of my men was lost. The others barely escaped. Are you sending me into a death trap? No, he smiles wickedly. Avadon is. I don't see it as a problem, of course. I don't expect a mighty hand like you to be concerned by things that scare us little people. Traps? Tinker Mage work. One of our first hints that the lair was more than a mere wretched tunnel. How did you come to serve here? Odell starts to brush you off, but then he remembers your new status as Hand of Avadon. I was a promising warrior of Kellam Dariel. I rose fast enough to draw the attention of Hanvar's council. Then they needed someone to babysit the situation between the Kava and the Wild Realm, so they chose me. I want to know more about the rebellion. It is not complicated. The tribes of the southern Wild Realm have many long-standing traditions. They have decided that maintaining them is worth destroying the safety of the pact. How long has the rebellion lasted? It has grown slowly for 3 years, starting not long after Avadon was sacked. They have grown in strength and allies. As you have seen, they are engaging in far more than small and isolated raids. The rebellion started after the sacking of Avadon. Don't you think that's suspicious? Of course it's suspicious. Why do you think I tolerate Avadon's hands meddling with my command? Do you think those responsible for the sacking of Avadon are also behind the rebellion? He is slow to answer. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Many both inside and outside our lands would gain if the pact fractured. You said the rebellion has allies. Who are they? The wretches, but they are easily dealt with even in large numbers. The Titans who attacked us are another matter. They are very bad news. Odell does something you haven't seen him do yet. He hesitates, and I have no proof, but let's say I wouldn't be surprised if the Tawans have had a hand in this mess. Who are the Tawans? Surely a great Hand of Avadon like you should know this. The mighty Tawan Empire borders the pact to the east, once ruled all of Linnaeus. Why do you think the Tawans are allied with the rebellion? He grunts in annoyance. Weren't you listening? I'm just guessing. But they'd have the most to gain with the weak pact. My duty begins and stops with the Wild Realm Rebellion. You've decided to be a hand. You get to deal with the rest. Who is in charge of it? That is a very good question. It seems to have many leaders, one for each region. We cannot simply kill the beast by chopping off his head. In the contested lands, the leader is a shaman named Constina. She has proved to be a wily foe, though, of course, she will not evade us forever. What will you do with Constina if you capture her? He is quick to answer. She would be dealt with like any traitor to the pact. Summary trial. Then she'll disappear into Avadon's dungeons. I doubt she'll let herself be captured alive. Kalita, relaxed and listening until now, stiffens and stares unfocused for several seconds. Then she blinks hard and returns to paying attention. What sorts of traditions? The right to discipline their own criminals, to exact tolls on the free roads, to fight the Kava and raid the Camarians, To pretend that they are only people in Linnaeus and that nobody else matters. How long has rebellion lasted? Okay. Can I get supplies? That is the question everyone in the sport asks every day. Go to the supply tower to see what they can spare. I am no quartermaster. I ask only that you do not use the power of Avadon to strip me of all the materials I need to keep my warriors alive. What is your problem with Avadon? Avadon is given power without limit, resource we can barely spare. The Black Fortress pretends that the sun rises and sets only with its permission. And what do we get in return? Precious little. I know it is risky to say such things, and yet I will not be silent. What is the risk of speaking thus? Redbeard considers criticism of his warrior cult to be an assault on the Pact. Only my usefulness to Hanvar's council protects me from a long stay in your master's dungeons. Doesn't Avadon fight for the Pact? Yes, but it fights for itself more. Anything it has done, less arrogant souls could have done too. You think Avadon has too much power? They have no limits. They kill who they want, take what they want. This has gone unquestioned for too long. If we want the Black Fortress reformed, its moment of weakness is the right time. And give your companions a chance to respond to the commander's words. None seem eager to confront Commander Odell, but they are also unable to stay quiet. Kalita says, "We are fighting for the same thing, Commander, preserving the Pact. If what you said was true, Avadon would never have been sacked in the first place. If anything, Avadon is too weak." Odell grunts and shakes his head, displeased by the idea of Avadon having more power. Looks like Odell's opinions will not be changed today. I'll be going now. Odell nods and returns to his papers without another word. There is a Shadow Walker standing at the head of this table, poring over maps and blade rosters intently. Through the slits of the traditional mask, you can see bags under her eyes. Since the keep was attacked, she has had very little sleep. She nods as you approach, though she doesn't move any of her papers aside. "Welcome, Malik. We have not met, but I know of your little adventure up north. I am Monitor Yasua, honored second in command to Commander Odell." "You are a Monitor?" "Yes, I command the first lance of Rockridge Keep. There are 8 lances here currently." "What is a lance?" 100 warriors, usually. A lance is made up of 10 blades, each of which has 10 soldiers. It is how the armies of the Pact are organized. "And the commander?" "A commander commands a force, which is usually 10 lances. Right now, we only have 8. Now that this attack has happened, we hope to be staffed up to a full force." "Do you think that will happen?" "When Titans smash down the gates of a Pact fortress, that has a way of attracting the attention of Hanvar's council. I am optimistic." Monitor Yasua stands at her post, studying maps and making plans. She is fueled by constant infusions of tea and an occasional tiny nap. Tell me about the current situation." "The contested lands are full of rebels, bandits, and savage humanoids. Their fear of the Pact and Avadon has been lost. Our forces here are too weak to maintain order. The situation could hardly be worse. I am now a hand of Avadon. I congratulate you. To fight for the Pact is an honor. To do so in a place with such tradition, influence, and effectiveness, I honestly envy you. Alas, Avadon does not return this respect. It cannot aid us for political reasons. Political reasons? Our commander is a known foe of Avadon. Many mistrust the power of Avadon, of course, but most are quieter and more diplomatic. You support Avadon?" "Yes, completely. Avadon has done more to preserve the Pact than any other group, including Hanvar's council." "What do you think of Commander Odell's very vocal attacks on Avadon?" "He is a frank and passionate warrior forced to sit at a desk writing reports. This leads to too much thinking and brooding on his part. It would be wiser if he could focus his energies on fighting the rebellion." "Odell should be sent to Avadon to learn firsthand the truth of what he is talking about. It is not my place to say, but since you mention it, that would be an appropriate lesson about the consequences of one's words." I would like to aid you. Is there anything I can do to help?" Yasua starts to shake her head. Then she looks at the enormous pile of reports in front of her. "I cannot distract you from your vital mission. However, so much remains to be done. I can, I suppose, tell you some things I know about. For example, in the woods where you and Silky were attacked, there is a lumberyard there, abandoned by its owner. It has been taken over by wretches. If you were passing there and happened to destroy them, I could give you some useful assets from our stores. Why haven't you slain them? Because we are surrounded by foes, and because this particular group is protected by several turrets. It appears they found the stores of a tinker mage and put them to use. And if I don't have time, that is your decision. I only suggest, if you are consumed with bloodlust, ways that such a thirst might be profitably slaked. Yasua is an officer in Rockridge Keep. She will occasionally offer bounties for nearby foes of the pack. Some wretches have taken over a lumberyard in the lands north of Rockridge Keep, near where you were first attacked. Clear them out. Okay, I think those pack papers are going to be a quest item, so we will hang on to those. Alright, book is about Linnaeus, already in our codex. Commander's Chambers, we're not going to worry about entering there. Alright, guest quarters. Book about the Pact. The Pact is an alliance of 5 nations occupying the central lands of Linnaeus. Though these countries have wildly different cultures, governments, and histories, one thing brought them together: mutual resolve to end centuries of raiding and devastations wreaked by the far lands, the small powers that surround the Pact. The lands of the Pact are rich and pleasant. They are also flat and difficult to defend. Barbarians, wretches, and titans from the small states at the edge of Linnaeus wreaked devastation for countless years. Then came the rise of Overlord Hanvar of Hoklanda, a warrior and diplomat who united the 5 Pact states in their uneasy peace. There were 3 distinct periods in the history of the Pact: the First Age, the Black Age, when the Pact was torn apart in civil war, and the Third Age, when the Pact was reformed under the supervision and enforcement of the Fortress of Avadon. Oh, I just realized I could have put that on. Put that Scarab on. But then again, we already get a Spine Shield from Dedric's abilities, at least with the path we're going on. Speaking of ones, we'll hang on to this one we have here for him. Or these 2 spell scrolls. Not spell scroll, but one's a scroll, one's a wand, obviously, but we'll keep those on him, but we will give Dedric at least 1 offensive weapon, since he doesn't have much offense right now. And let's go ahead and split up our gear here. I still wish I didn't have to burn out those healing potions earlier, but that's okay. But one reason why I do take on the quest here is so I can get even more items and rewards. The mighty fortress of Avadon is both place and symbol. It represents the Pact and everything it is willing to do to survive. Everyone in Linnaeus fears the warriors and assassins of Avadon. The attention of Avadon can be lethal. There is nothing its agents will not do to maintain the stability of the Pact. The Black Age, a brutal civil war that lasted over 30 years, showed that the 5 nations of the Pact had little in common beyond their desire for safety. They could hang together, allied and strong, but there had to be a force counteracting those who would pull it apart. Thus, the Keep of Avadon. It has one master, selected by Hanvar's council, who rules for life. Though, considering how many enemies that master makes and how many assassins he or she attracts, that life can be shortened dramatically. Avadon stands independent from the council. It is its own law. The Council and individuals can petition it for aid, but it primarily watches on its own for threats to the stability of the Pact, inside and out. A leader rises in the far lands who might rise to true power, he disappears. A brigand in the Cava who is angering Hoplanda by raiding over the border, she is stopped. Even members of Hanvar's council itself can be removed, jailed, or even killed if Redbeard deems it necessary. However, the influence of Avadon has declined sharply in the last few years, since it was betrayed from within and raided by mysterious invaders. It has struggled to rebuild, and Hanvar's council has not helped. The headquarters of Rockridge Keep are always full of watchers and monitors, reporting in, receiving orders, and consulting records and maps. It's a constant frenzy of activity. You try to speak with one of them, only to receive a polite brush-off. I apologize, Hand. I am terribly busy and cannot speak to you. I believe the commander is expecting you. It's amazing how becoming a Hand affects how people treat you. The contested lands are one of 2 contested territories in central Linnaeus, lands whose ownership is claimed by 2 states in the Pact. These hills and thick forests have been claimed by both the Cava and the tribes of the Wild Realm since the Black Age. Unlike the Barossa woods to the north, the contested lands are a valuable territory. The woods there are just woods, but the hills are rich with silver, gemstones, and the crystals that are so valuable for working powerful magic. Fear of Avadon has kept these powers from taking steps to claim these lands, and neither the Cava nor the Wild Realm were eager for war. Now that Avadon is sacked and weak, however, raiders and prospectors from both sides have already begun to infiltrate the contested lands. Fights have happened, blood has been spilled, and the disparate Wild Realm tribes have already begun to band together to prepare a defense against the Cava. If Avadon is unable to step in, and soon, this quiet, long-simmering dispute could easily turn into war within the Pact. Okay, there was one more person to talk to here, but I was just exploring around here. There is a sorcerer sitting in this office. Well, hiding. She sits slumped in a chair in the corner, her blonde hair unwashed and her long robes unlaundered. Only a symbol on her shoulder, marking her as the Hand of Avadon, is clean and fresh, and considering how often she nervously picks at it with her fingernails, it will not remain thus for long. She looks up at you. Welcome to my office. I am Hand Esme, representative of the august power of Avadon. What business do you have here? You are a Hand of Avadon. I am. She lifts up the shoulder of her robe to show you the symbol. See? No question now that we have to wear these. You didn't want it? You didn't wear it before? Redbeard's orders. After the assault, he made all of us announce that we fight for Avadon, showing our presence or something. Only those on covert missions are allowed to not show their presence. You don't want to wear it? Considering the Hands have been murdered over the last few years, I would prefer to remain incognito. Hand Esme continues to slump in her grimy, undignified way in her chair. She occasionally picks at the hand symbol on her shoulder, a nervous habit. Avadon has more impressive representatives. What are you doing back here? I'm assigned to this keep to watch things, report doings at Rockridge Keep back to Avadon, and to watch for situations we need to respond to. Why did Odell send me back to Avadon instead of you? Esme shrugs. And yet you cower in this office? She starts to snap out of a dismissive response until she remembers that you are a fellow Hand. Who are you to judge? You are fresh minted. You know nothing of the raids, the assassinations, the losses of our numbers. I will leave this office when I know that my likely death will achieve something worth doing. Smart. We Hands should be cautious like you. Esme doesn't trust your compliment. Thanks, I guess. She stares silently at you until you go away. Do you collect information for Avadon? I do, I suppose. We're supposed to watch the staff for signs of dissent, unreliability, anti-pact feelings. None of them talk to me, but if you hear something interesting, you can tell me. Commander Odell is openly contemptuous of Avadon. Esme lets out a thin, bitter laugh. You think that is any secret? His opposition to our purpose is even known in the far lands. If he was loyal to us, don't you think he'd be sent a more helpful envoy than me? Yasua seems to support Avadon. Yasua supports her own advancement. She sees Avadon as useful. Still, if she rose to power here, it would be good for us, and thus, good for the Pact. Nothing to report right now. Oh, alright. Any Avadon business that needs conducting? She seems surprised. Wait, you would help me? Give us success I can report back to the Black Fortress? In return for payment, I assume. He thinks it over. Alright. Some months ago, a representative of Avadon came here. Name was Dimas, a Darramite. She was supposed to get a report, look around, and return. She describes Dimas to you. Instead, she left this keep in the middle of the night and did not return. Nothing has been heard from her since. Redbeard does not like losing eyes. He made it clear that he wants to know what happened to her. Please find out. Wait, she just left? In the middle of the night, she didn't seem odd or confused. She did her duty, remote but not unfriendly, and then as she went to the gate, gave the guards a nod, and walked out. Not seen since. Any idea of where I should look? Odell sent out trackers, and don't think it was easy to convince him to look for a servant of Avadon. Dimas went west. She makes a mark on your map, in a region called Blackwood. The trail was lost around here. Where did she go before she came here? From the west. I believe she traveled near Titan Peaks and the Corruption. She said no more than that, even though I asked. She didn't like me. I do recall one thing. She seemed ill when she arrived. It seemed like a minor sickness, nothing worth concern. However, it never faded during the weeks she was here. Redbeard values eyes more than hands? That surprises you? The purpose of an eye is to gain and store knowledge. The purpose of a hand is to explore, fight, and die. Which of those do you do? Your question is ignored. Help me with this and I will see that you are rewarded. And thus I further the interests of Avadon. Hurrah for me. Aunt Esme is an Avadon warrior stationed in Rockridge Keep. She is investigating the loss of Dimas, who fled the keep in dead of night. Dimas appears to have fled west to the Blackwood region. Travel there and see if he can learn where she went. Okay. So we have another mission here. There are a number of cows within the walls of Rockridge Keep, waiting their final destiny. None of them appear to be infiltrators or rebel spies, but you never know. They certainly have good reason to mistrust their owners. Alright, got a group heal scroll, that should come in handy. Like all settlements in or near the Cava, Rockridge Keep has its own copy of the Stone Code, the inviolable laws of the Cava binding peasant and king alike, carved into four stones. As the law evolves painfully slowly over centuries, the stones are updated, which explains why there is an aging woman of the Cava wandering around the stones, hammer and chisel in hand, tidying up the text. You watch her for a while, admiring the care and reverence with which she works on the stone. She eventually notices you and stops for a rest. Greetings, warrior. I am Lawcarver Ain, one of the honored keepers of the code. I have much to do here. What does the Lawcarver do? We carve the laws, she laughs. Simple enough. As the law changes, the words are given to me. I write them and maintain them, repair cracks, add words, clean off bird waste. How often does the law change? Rarely. Oh, so rarely. I will not bewilder you with the many steps, meetings, conclaves, and futile attempts at consensus necessary to change the Stone Code. It is a rare event, usually only in response to clear, dire need. What if you don't agree with the law? Nobody cares what I think. The law is the law. Even when it is at its most harsh, its most unsteady, it's still the guide for our lives. Does anyone else ever modify the code without permission? Kalita, a loyal Keva warrior, is thoroughly scandalized by this suggestion. Ain is nonplussed. Then she silently points to the top of this tall central stone. The penalty for anyone but a law carver to change a law is sure, slow, painful death. The first law of the code is that the code must stay pure. Harsh, but it is necessary if the system is to work. Agreed, and if we change our minds, the law can be modified, with years of work. It seems unlikely, though. Why is there so much work required here? Because the stone code in the contested lands is so poorly maintained. There are currently 14 stone carvers, but I am the only one who works the contested lands. Isn't it dangerous to travel out here? Yes, extremely. And yet, abandoning the stone code is more dangerous, so I accept the risk. Why are the stones in such poor shape? Because of neglect, and because the warriors of the Wild Realm take great pleasure in defiling them. She tries to hide her disgust and fails. Let's talk about the Wild Realm. She shakes her head. No, we law carvers make a point of staying neutral in such matters, no matter how savage those who wish to steal our lands act. We carry the law, we say nothing that would change our burden. Law carver Ain takes a drink from a skin at her belt and cleans her tools. Her belt bears an assortment of pouches and steel implements worthy of a tinker mage. I can talk, but I must also work. There is much to do here. Do you travel much? I only travel. There is always a job to do, and it is always many miles away. It pains me greatly, as there are 2 tasks I must perform in areas of the contested lands held by rebels. Completing them right now is beyond my ability. I can help you. She looks at the hand badge on your shoulder. Perhaps you can. One of the sacrifices the Keva had to make to join the pact was to give up some control over the stone code, and the responsibility to watching it fell to Avadon. Yes, there is something you can do for me. Go on. There is a worn copy of the stone code in rebel lands to the south, in a region thick with wretches. It has not been updated for a century, and we law carvers have deemed it obsolete. I would like for you to nullify it. Kalita stands still and silent, overwhelmed by the possibility of changing this code stone herself. Do this for me, and I will reward you. We law carvers are few, but our resources are great. How do I nullify a stone? Use something sharp to place a single diagonal mark across the text on each side of each stone, from upper right to lower left. Then all the Keva who see that stone will know not to rely upon it. Why is this so important? Because those stones bear law so old as to be actively dangerous. Obeying the stone code is literally a matter of life and death. You met Law Carver Ain when she was maintaining the stone code in Rockridge Keep. She is authorized to pay agents to help her with her work. For example, there is an outdated copy of this code that needs to be nullified near the abandoned rebel lair. Find it and cross out the obsolete laws. The Keva is a member of the Midlands Pact, the nation of harsh people in a harsh landscape. Maintaining life on its wide expanses of scrubland and rocky plains was difficult enough even before dealing with constant raids from wretches and the barbarians of Svorgald. So the Emperor of the Keva leaped at the chance to join Hanvar's alliance. Those outside the Keva often joke that this land has 2 kings, their emperor and a bunch of rocks. This is pretty close to the truth. It is true that the Keva is primarily a hereditary monarchy. Each dynasty leads absolutely until it is deposed by some violent civil war or other. But the Keva is also ruled by the Stone Code. This is the code of laws first written a millennium ago and greatly expanded since. These laws provide the structure of life in the Keva. Even the Emperor must obey them. A leader who ignores the Stone Code is seen as power mad and faces destruction. The core of the Stone Code can be found in the middle of every city and village in the Keva, carved into 4 pillars of rock, there for all to see. Actually, there is a lot of the code that is written on papyrus. The Stone Code grew too large to be practically carved onto stone about 5 centuries back. However, the core principles of the code are always visible, and that is what is important. The people of the Cava are fierce warriors. For the last 2 years, they have fought guerrilla war with the Wild Realm tribes to the west. The reason? The contested lands, a rich region of wooded hills, long claimed by both nations. You meet Watcher Deniz, the quartermaster of Rockridge Keep. He has the dark hair and harsh features of a man of the Cava. He is walking around the storerooms, tallying his meager supplies. You have met him. He provides you with your first blade and suit of armor after all. When you greet him, he says, "Welcome back, Malik. I'm glad you survived your patrol. I don't have many supplies to spare, but I'll always do what I can. I could use supplies." Of course, Malik. Right now, orders are that all supplies beyond basic equipment must be traded for with battlefield scavenge. Sign of the times, I am afraid. And since you are a hand of Avadon, I will give you considerable discount. I want to trade for something. The stores for Rockridge Keep are pretty well picked, but Deniz still has few useful items on offer. As a hand of Avadon, you get a considerable discount. I'll take it. Okay, my main focus as far as potions go are the health potions. I want to sell something. I have no more trading to do. Alright. You are from the Cava? Deniz ponders this. Normally, I do not discuss politics. However, as a hand of Avadon, you should hear what has been happening here. Happening to loyal warriors of the Cava, who wish only to preserve their rightful place and uphold the Stone Code. The Stone Code? The law, carved on black stone that is the source of all order and justice in our lands. Harsh, but fair. Constant and unchanging. The Wild Realm have no such law to live by. They can barely even write. And go on. Normally forcing the contested lands, a name that is itself a lie, are sapped by warriors from other parts of the pack to avoid partiality. However, Commander Odell put Corral, a Wild Realm tribesman, in charge of the scouts. But you are from the Cava. You are hardly impartial. Yes, but I have every right to be here. These lands are ours. What do you think Corral is doing? As head of the scouts, chief gatherer of intelligence, who knows what knowledge he is leaking to his Wild Realm compatriots, rebel or otherwise. And what do you want from me? Do something. One of your hands is in the headquarters. Talk to her. Let her know about this infiltration. I will speak with the hand. Deniz nods. I appreciate it. All we of the Cava ask for is basic fairness, and also every inch of the lands that are ours. Do you have any other business with me? Did you lose much in the raid? Of course. 3 soldiers, 1 gate, much morale. In addition, we did, alas, lose valuable supplies that will be difficult to replace. Most painfully, a full caravan in the lands to the south was lost. 4 wagons full of food, fine steel, and alchemical reagents. I would be happy to help find it. Deniz perks up. Really? How fortunate. I'd heard rumors you would be heading south. If you find any sign of the rebels or brigands that stole our supplies, please tell me. I would be happy to, in return, liberate some goods from my stores. Watcher Deniz continues his silent tally, occasionally shaking his head or clucking his tongue when he finds a cracked blade or empty barrel. Anything I can do for you? Watcher Deniz nods enthusiastically. I am so glad you offered to help. Our limited resources are going toward dealing with the losses caused by the raid, and there is one problem we have not been able to address. Since the attack happened, the supply caves under this fort have been infested with spiders. Many of them. Big ones. We don't know where they came from or why, but until the source can be found and eliminated, nobody in Rockridge Keep will sleep well. They only just appeared? Yes, there were 2 shamans in the raid. Both escaped, but we suspect that, before they fled, they worked some twisted magic on us. How do I get into those tunnels? There is a trapdoor in each of the 3 towers on the main central courtyard. What exactly am I looking for down there? I don't know. A mommy spider, maybe? That seems to be, in my observation, where baby spiders come from. Watcher Denez is trying to clear out all the pests in and around Rockridge Keep. If you have spare time, he will pay you for your assistance. For example, the storage rooms under the keep have recently become infested with spiders. Go down there, find the source of the spiders, and remove it. First, let's go talk to the hand. Like, literally, talk to the hand. Watcher Denez wants me to speak with you about something. Esme rolls her eyes. Let me guess. About Head Scout Corral. How did you know? Because Corral is all Denez ever speaks to me about. He and the other Wild Realm Scouts are all rebels here to act against the rest of us. That and how much the contested lands really and truly only belong to the Keva. I am well versed in Denez's politics. Is it true? Esme shrugs. How should I know? Maybe you should investigate further. Don't talk down to me. Investigating the Wild Realm is the fastest way to find a knife in your back in the middle of the night. I have kept my eyes open. Corral seems to be about as loyal as any Wild Realm. It almost doesn't matter. We have to have local Wild Realm active scouts because they are the only ones who know the land, customs, and people. Besides, if Corral does betray us, Odil will make sure he pays. Okay. I spoke with Han Esme about Corral. Denez eagerly hangs on your words. Can she prove he's a rebel? Or at least get the commander to demote him? He will keep an eye on him. Denez visibly slumps, but hides his disappointment with a smile. I see. Well, I'm sure with Avadon's gaze upon him, Corral will think twice about betraying us. Thank you for talking to her. Book is about Wretchlands. Path of the Berserker increases itself by 5% per level. Can she wear the steel? Yeah, she can now. Ooh, but that takes her close to her limit too, as far as like items go. I guess we can put it on him, yeah, since he can use some armor to extent. A wretched child runs up and tries to bite you on the foot. One futile request for peace, followed by one sharp kick, and you are free to go on your way. This was something you didn't expect in a pack fort. Wretches. Quite a few of them. One is fully grown, muscular, and acting as a keep's blacksmith. The others are as young. Small, feral, ever hungry, trying to help in the forge, but mainly only magnifying the chaos. The wretch in charge separates two of his young, who are going at it hammers and tongs, literally, and approaches you. Welcome, warrior. Welcome, welcome. I am Virgil. This is my forge. Snag, Trush, put that sword down. I would aid you. Trading I do. What is the wretch doing here? Virgil seems slightly offended. Always the asking that. The pack tells us, be good and we welcome. We be good. We help. Then you go, a wretch. Well, wretch do here is help make weapons. Fix armor. Good with hammers. Wretches are welcome in the pack. Welcome? No. But we be good. Follow law. Then we can live and work and nobody kills us. I good. Raise kids to be good. Then nobody kill them too. Considering the constant violence Virgol's children are inflicting on everything around them, you have your doubts about how good they are. What do you think of the contested lands? Humans shout at each other, stab each other, gives Virgol work to do, money to make. You have no opinion on the struggle? Yes, opinion. Humans violent and crazy like wretches. There is opinion. Virgol alternates between repairing blades and keeping his offspring from killing each other. Sometimes one of the wretch young aids Virgol in his work, generally more by accident than intent. A lot of kids. Yes, most wretches have many. Many. Wife and I only have 16. Poor showing. Family very disappointed. You have a wife? Using human word. Wretch word for partner different. What we do different. Scary and upsetting to humans. Best not to ask too much. What do you want your kids to be when they grow up? He ponders this. Alive. Alive is good. Well, not too many alive to swarm me and take my stuff. Less than that. But a lot alive. That is good. I am a hand of Avadon. Virgol space false. Oh, hand. This means shakedown. Means you rob poor Virgol, yes? Let's get this over with. Right, what gift do you have for me? Virgol gets out a pair of iron gauntlets for you. They're ugly and scratched, but otherwise useful. Here, your bribe. You nice to Virgol? You let him be and let him do work. Most happy, noble hand. I like to trade with you. Yes, Commander lets me trade free with humans. Price good, I help you. Let me see your wares. The workmanship of Virgol's blades and armor is poor. Barely acceptable. Still, it will do it if strictly necessary. At least its prices are low. Okay, so nothing we need here. Still something. I don't need anything. Good. Excuse me. Virgol runs off to liberate a red-hot poker from the claws of a frenetic wretch girl. Okay, that takes her right to being encumbered. So we'll just hang on to that for now. But I still want to hang on to the steel breastplate. Okay, what's in here? The Titan Peaks. Titans are, in many ways, similar to humans, but very stocky, powerfully muscled, and much taller. Some specimens are as much as 12 feet tall. Perhaps Titans are a race of humans who grew much taller and stronger. Or maybe the opposite is true. All that is known is that the Titan Peaks is the last land controlled by these proud, powerful creatures. These mountains are on one of the Farlands, a rocky peninsula on the southern coast of Linnaeus. The Titans are penned in there by the pack. Ending the raids of these powerful warriors was one of the main reasons Keva joined the Alliance. Titans are very strong and fearsome in battle. They wield war clubs and huge iron swords, and they fling rocks at their foes with deadly speed and accuracy. They are not long-lived creatures. Their bulk weighs them down and wears them out at an early age. They are not stupid. Some see their tribal lifestyle in fur garments and think they are simple creatures. A dangerous mistake. The Titans of the Peaks belong to tribes, led by elders and shamans. In a way, it is not that different from the Wild Realm. But most Titans are warriors, ever ready to fend off potential assaults by humans greedy for land. The peaks themselves are jagged and painfully difficult terrain for invaders. In a fair fight, one Titan is a match for 10 human warriors. But the pact is organized, and there are many humans. Thus the Titans stay in their mountains, staring jealously at the fertile plains to the north. And they hope for the day when the pact will be gone and they can emerge. Okay, so there is another path down here. Okay. Oh, there's somebody right here. I thought, oh, who can see me right here? There is a cave of warrior in leather lurking in the back corner of the barracks. Several leather satchels are piled at his feet. You recognize Tanner immediately. He He has a reputation as a skilled trader of scavenged goods. Not entirely legal, but the commander looks the other way. He says, "Greetings, I'm Tanner, and you are..." "Wait, don't tell me. Malik, is it? Been waiting for you to come my way. Need anything Deniz can't or won't give you? I can help you out. I like to talk about the rebellion." Tanner shrugs. "I get orders, I follow them. I don't have beliefs otherwise. Bad for business, I just trade. Is it legal for soldiers to run a shop in the keep?" It's a gray area, it's true. Fortunately for me, when something is needed badly enough, people find a way for it to stay legal. I am a hand of Avadon now. "So I have heard. Congratulations, and I hope you will let me give you a little consideration to show my gratitude for your service to the pact." "The only consideration you can give me is shutting down this little business. Permanently." Tanner sighs. "I knew it was too good to last. The law is the law. Just don't fool yourself into thinking you have made anything better here. Excuse me, I have some goods to dispose of." He picks up his packs of goods and walks off. A Wild Room scout sits cross-legged and stares into the fire. His spine is perfectly straight and his hair is lined with several long, dignified streaks of gray. When you approach, he motions for you to sit across from him, not turning his eyes from the blaze. When you are seated, he looks up at you. "Greetings, Malik. I know that your report must go to the commander, but I would also hear of your ordeal in the woods. The loss of Silky is a great wound both to our forces and our spirits." Watcher Corral listens somberly to the tale of your narrow escape and the fate of Silky. A good scout has fallen, and yet Silky was carried off? Perhaps there is a glimmer of hope. Thank you for this knowledge. I'm grateful that you took the time before you begin your new journey. Now, what else would you have of me? How are you dealing with the raid? We are recovering from it as best we can. My scouts patrol the woods, looking for signs of a new attack. They stay close to Rockridge so that they can alert us quickly. I am now a hand of Avadon. Corral continues to stare into the fire. The badge on your shoulder makes it so. You have achieved far more power and influence than I could ever have given you. I hope that it turns out to be what you wanted. I hope I am permitted, now that I know your new status, to ask for your aid. Tell me about the contested lands. The contested lands? Yes, so they are called. For centuries, a hunting ground and sacred burial place for the Wild Realm. Now, simply an oddly shaded area on a map. They are a place where I fight my people, as fellow citizens of the pact plot against me. These lands are now a place of bitterness. Tell me about the rebels. Corral's eyes flick towards you for a moment, looking for signs of suspicion. Seeing none, he says, "I share with all the Wild Realm great sorrow over the loss of our traditions. I also know that this great prize brings greater safety in the arms of the pact. I am loyal to the pact, no matter what Deniz says." You said that someone is plotting against you? Watcher Deniz, in the next tower to the east, a bitter partisan for the Kava. He thinks me a traitor and liar, and he makes no secret of his desire to see me expelled from our gates. Has Deniz always wanted you expelled? Not always. It started when I was promoted to head scout. Why is Deniz so bitterly set against you? It is enough that I am a warrior of the Wild Realm in a position of power. He thinks all of us are disloyal regardless of our record. Luckily, our commander is wiser. What would change Deniz's mind about you? He is quick to answer. I could save his life 100 times over and he still would never trust me. What do you think of Deniz? Is he loyal to the pact? He is Kava first and pact citizen second. From birth, all Kava are taught to be loyal to their code. Pact laws are an afterthought for them. He is not smart enough to throw off his prejudices. Okay, we already looked through that. Watcher Crawl sits and stares into the fire. He has no maps or records surrounding him. He doesn't need them. The scouts whisper that every detail of this region, every hill, path, and fallen branch rests in his head. Is there anything I can do for you? Your offer is very tempting. You are a hand of Avadon. You have the freedom and power to do what I wish. I know your kind rarely aids without great payment. I can pay little except trinkets and gratitude. There is a blade master of the Cava. His name is Karim. He murdered one of my scouts. Then he fled. Such an outrage against a man of the Wild Realm, loyal to his kind and to the pact, must be answered. Tell me more. It is a simple story. The Cava and Wild Realm dispute this land. The two had an argument. It was near the laws of the Stone Code, to the east. My scout spat on one of them. The Blade Master Karim struck him down. Then he fled the fort, not even pausing to get supplies. My scout was foolish and rash, but he should not have been killed. Karim must pay. Why has he not been hunted down? Priorities, or so the official story goes. With all that has happened, the commander has none to spare to catch one man. However, given the dispute over these lands, this is an oddly convenient position. Will killing him get me in trouble? I do not know. Even when justified, the slaying of a Cava warrior at the request of a Wild Realm scout will cause diplomatic difficulties, perhaps even retribution. All I can tell you is that you would be doing the right thing. Even the Cava's odd stone code would agree. What would you have me do? Find him, take vengeance, spill his blood, as he spilled blood, and accept the consequences. He was seen heading west toward the Wild Realm and the corruption. Why did he go in that direction? I do not know. I will do what you ask. He takes your map and places a mark on it. Based on his supplies and the speed he can attain in his metal armor, I believe him to be in this area. At least, this is where I would begin the hunt. I am grateful to you for your aid. Watcher Corral is the scout in Rockridge Keep. A blade master named Karim slew one of his soldiers and fled the keep. He wants you to help track down the killer. All he knows is that Karim fled west to the Blackwood. It seems like a good place to begin the hunt. In terms of land, the Wild Realm is the largest of the 5 states in the Midlands Pact. In population, it is, by a narrow margin, the smallest. Of course, that is only counting human population. If you count the drakes, werewolves, and other lethal pests of the Wild Realm's tribes, the number goes way up. Ignoring the tame beasts of the western tribes is a lethal mistake. The Wild Realm is not so much a nation as a loose, very loose confederation of barbarian tribes. They are not insulted by the word barbarian. In fact, they claim it with great pride. As the rest of Linnaeus moved into stone cities with thick walls, the tribesfolk of the Wild Realm continued to roam their vast plains and woods. Normally, in any conflict between cities and tribes, the cities win, but the shamans of the Wild Realm, with their powerful chants and lethal reptilian servants, have done well maintaining their independence. Though the tribes love to fight each other for land, for supplies, for artifacts, they will unite in an instant to deal with invaders. The Wild Realm's time in the Pact has not been without strife. The individual tribes fiercely claim absolute control over their lands. They tend to demand tolls from soldiers and merchants from the rest of the Pact who wish to cross, a violation of the terms of the Pact. The struggle has only grown more tense in the last 2 years. The southern tribes have been fighting a guerrilla war with the Cava for the rich hills of the contested lands. There is a scout of the Wild Realm sitting by this fire, eating a quick bowl of stew before returning to her patrol. Her name is Scout Lore. You barely know her, but she was a close friend of Silky. When she sees you, she says, "Greetings, Malik. I heard about your loss. Please sit and join me. Tell me about this keep." It is unfamiliar. I have been here for months, and yet I cannot get used to living inside walls of stone. Even with the risk of the patrols, it is good to wander. I like to know more about the contested lands. Laura shakes her head. I share with my people the desire for these lands, but I am no rebel. I would rather not say more. I follow my orders and do my work. That is all. Why are these lands so important to the Wild Realm? For centuries, we hunted here. We buried our dead. The Cava would fill these lands with cities of stone. When we... She stops herself. No, this is not the time or the place. Tell me about the rebels. They are a wound in our people. Our brothers and sisters torn from the wild realm by the rebel Constantina. What few freedoms we have to gain are not worth this loss. It would be better if she had never been born. I'd like to know more about the contested lands. Oh. Would you like to talk about Silky? Laura slowly nods. I would. We were close friends. We came from the same tribe in the north, far from rebel lands to this chaos. I know that you were the last one she traveled with. I would like to hear anything you could tell me. Silky was competent and loyal. You tell Laura the tale of your final time with Silky. She nods and smiles. Yes, that matches the Silky I knew. Silky was struck and carried off. I don't know if the scout lived or died. Then I will be a fool and choose hope. Silky was a hardy soul, the best of the wild realm. I think Silky lived. If you learn the truth, one way or the other, I hope you will let me know. I need to be going. She nods. Thank you for the company, and may the ground rise to meet your feet. Okay. So with that in mind, let's head back in here. And go down here. Because we have some quests to do, of course, down here. Minor quests, but still quest. But I will need to save the game right here, and I'll see you all soon with the next part of Let's Play.